or I play 4K, AK, I play 8K, AK, I play 16K, and during this video I'm going to introduce you to a 3ds Max application by Autodesk. It's a 3D rendering application that I know all the way since 2004, the year 2004 in 3ds Max 4, but my favorite one was 3ds Max 5.5 and 7. Okay, um, this is going to be a tutorial by me, by UHDk1ng, aka Artistic Bytes, because I'm a boss over the Artistic Bytes, the future company that will be doing the software development, game development, and all kind of different 3D animation and arts, including the 3D design and architectural design. So this tutorial is going to be 101. That means that I'm going to explain with easy language how to do realistic 3D textures, okay, in 3ds Max, in any version of the 3ds Max. Okay, so it doesn't matter what version of 3ds Max that you're using, this tutorial will cover it all since 2005, which is 3ds Max 5th version. Okay, all the methods and techniques that I'm going to use. Actually, I believe some of the methods and techniques that I'm going to use was available only in 3ds Max 7, all the way back in 2007. Okay, but today is end of the March. Let me show it to you. Today is end of the March 28, 2024, Thursday. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and summarize my experience. I have, as you can see, 20 years of experience in Autodesk 3ds Max. My first 3D application was Cinema 4D, and I switched to 3ds Max because one of my very talented buddy, he's also a great software developer. He has a couple master's degrees. He can teach the mathematics and stuff in universities, and he also a 3D animator and graphics designer, just like me. So he's kind of skillful as me, and I switched to 3ds Max because he was doing the 3ds Max in 2004, and but I started in Cinema 4D application. It's also a 3D rendering application, which is great. I got it for free from one of the local stores. It was a magazine. I picked up the magazine and it was a CD, the full version of the Cinema 4D. I forgot what version it was, but I used that and I started using it back in 2000, I believe 3 or 2000, in beginning of 2004, and this is how I learned the 3D. But in 3ds Max, actually, where I got the 3D into my heart, in a version of 3ds Max 7, and it was in 2007, 2008 when I completely learned the 3ds Max. It was a guy, 3D Palace. The owner of the 3D Palace. It used to be a 3D Palace website for those who remember, and he was doing some robotic from Matrix, modeling, animation, video tutorials for sale, and after watching a couple of his tutorials that I purchased, it was over $100 per tutorial, which was like 20-40 hours tutorials, which was amazing, on a couple DVDs download. Throughout that time, it wasn't even 10 megabit per second internet. So 1 megabit, 2 megabits internet was like today 2 gigabits per second. Okay, and his name was Chris, 3dpalace.com. It used to be a website before he shut it down. Right now, he's like doing something else. He's also developing a game. He's from UK, I believe. And I learned a lot of stuff from him because he was so talented in 3ds Max. Right now he's teaching the Unreal. I thought the guy is in the suit and tie and such because he was like with an excellent English with the Englishman accent, but he wasn't kind of that guy, which is he's kind of looking a different guy. He's not dressing any suit and ties, but I picked up the techniques from him and it was unbelievable. So today I would like to share some of that. But today we're not, he was mostly Chris in 3D Palace was focused on the modeling and animation. He did do a lot of texturing stuff on tutorials, but I'm going to, throughout this video, it's going to be a couple hour video, I'm going to introduce you to 3D texturing. So what happened after you're done with your geometry, when you created your 3D model, 3D primitive, and you would like to set the textures and bring it to life and make the textures photorealistic and as easy as possible. It's not rocket science if you're going to use my method and techniques. And today I'm going to go ahead and introduce it to you within the application. As again, these methods and techniques that you're going to learn throughout this video will be available to you guys in any versions of the 3ds Max, starting 3ds Max 7 from 2007. The best version of the 3ds Max will be 3ds Max 2010. Okay, or 7, but 7 is I believe not supported on the Windows 10 and Windows 11, while 3ds Max 2010 supported by Windows 10 and Windows 11 64-bit application, because in 3ds Max 2010 they have 32-bit version and 64-bit version, and you can pick up very cheaply on eBay the license in the application, and it's going to work, guys, in 2024 and 2026. No matter what kind of industry you're working with, if you need to create a 3D model that's supporting 3ds format or object format, or the whole complete animation, if you would like to render a video with 3D animation, the 3ds Max application by Autodesk is industry leader in that. A lot of folks at Hollywood in California was using the 3ds Max, and their two main application in those studios, movies, cinema studios in Hollywood, was Maya by Autodesk. Autodesk purchased that package, or 3ds Max. 3ds Max Studio by Autodesk, and today you're going to learn one of the best in a class, but very expensive 3ds Max application. Okay, keep in mind, if you're learning the 3D right now, I'm assuming that you must still learn 3ds Max. That's why you're watching this video, or this is your main focus. But if I would be you, if I would be starting today, I would be starting with the Blender application. That Blender application is completely free. It's a freeware, and it has the same power as 3ds Max. It's a little bit different, but if you're gonna, going every single week, like 3-5 hours in that application for a period of 1 year, you're gonna learn everything. That there is nothing what you cannot achieve in Blender. Same thing in 3ds Max, but 3ds Max is a little bit easier because a lot of expensive plugins are available. It's like Photoshop and Painter. Corel Painter, it will be a Blender. Photoshop by Adobe will be like 3ds Max. You can do the same thing in Corel Painter application when it comes to 2D. Same thing as you can do in Adobe Photoshop. But it's just a different approaches. But the idea of the 3D modeling, 3D rendering, 3D animation will be about the same, just different user interface. Okay, so I'm sipping, guys, Colombian Supreme coffee beans, ground coffee that I purchased 5 kilograms. It's a 4 big cans on over 60% off. So it's supposed to be like $60. I invested like $29 total with the taxes, and it's like 5 kilos. It's gonna last me for a year. So I'm gonna sipping the coffee a lot. It's a Supreme coffee from Colombia. Suprema beans. It's beautiful. Hopefully you're sipping something nice too. The best healthy drink will be water with 2 slices of lemon, Or for taste, you can do the tea with 2 slices of lemon, put some honey into it, organic, nice green tea, or coffee. Okay. Um, do not drink the alcohol, do not smoke, and you're gonna live for 100 years. So that's good that you're watching this video. So I'm assuming this is more than just a gameplay video. So you're gonna learn a lot today. So I'm broadcasting in real time on YouTube right now, so you can ask the questions. I'm gonna see if you're gonna ask any questions and answer them in real time. And in the future, we're gonna do more of broadcasting. Okay, if this will go well, we're gonna find out. And let me see how many of you guys are watching. Okay, I just started. Okay, okay, there is one gentleman is watching already. All right, so let's go ahead and get going, guys. Throughout this video, we're going to texture the whole 3D chess board, including all the uh, figures on that board, chess figures. So I'm going to show you how to create the metal textures, photorealistic, including the ray tracing. Okay, it's not going to be the RTX ray tracing, so it's working on any CPUs, any GPUs, any computers. Keep in mind that I was working in 3ds Max all the way back in 2005. I was using the AMD single core CPU, and it was just fine. Of course, for the video, if I decided to create 3D video in 720p, it would take me like a week or something. But just the images like 720, 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080, it was just fine on a laptop with a single core CPU, AMD laptop back in 2005. That was my main system, or just a desktop. And then a core to duo, dual core CPUs was my main desktop system, where I learned the 3ds Max application to my heart. Okay, 3ds Max application can, especially the newer application, can use the plugins. Those are very expensive, where you can use the video card GPU to render the scenes. It's going to be much faster to do that, especially if you have like a top of the line video card like RTX 3090, Titan RTX, or RTX 4090, or RTX 50 series video cards, flagships. It's going to be nice, or Quadras. It doesn't matter, Quadras or gaming video cards. It's all about the CUDA cores. It's going to go way faster, especially when you're rendering the movie. Let's say if you created the 3D scene and trying to render the movie, it's going to be a nice approach for you to use the GPU 3D rendering capabilities of 3ds Max, but only in the if you're gonna purchase some plugins, and it's required some knowledge to go ahead and adjust it, get the plugins, install it. Today I'm not going to show it to you how to do that. Today I'm going to show you how to just completely work in the stock. Today I'm using the 3ds Max 2010 64-bit application that I got the license, and I purchased it so cheaply. I purchased like $120, and the whole license, it's beautiful. And today we're going to talk about it, and we're going to render with CPU instead of GPU. So you can do it on any computer. As again, you can do this on a single core AMD laptop from 2005 without any issues. Okay, guys? So we're going to go ahead and get going, but keep in mind that more cores you have on CPU, the more threads you have on CPU, the better. It's going to be render much faster. Throughout this video, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it for you. So I'm going to go ahead and put some music on the background real quick. So this is the list of the music that I have. So every single artist right here that is going to play for about 2 hours, I have the license, keep it in mind, so there is no royalties can be claimed. It's all rights reserved on all those audio. And I'm going to just go ahead and put some music on the background while I'm talking. So it's going to be this way. So let's go ahead, guys, and get going. So go ahead and open your 3D model. As again, I'm not going to teach you how to 3D model throughout this video. It's going to be a different video tutorials over the UHDk1ng.com or artisticbytes.com. Go ahead and check it out. Over this video, we're going to learn how to texture, how to put the skin, like metal skin, on that 3D models. For those who doesn't understand, it's called 3D texture, like how to paint it out. Okay, and this is what we're gonna learn today throughout this video, and how to create it photorealistic and believable. Okay, so it's not gonna look like it's painted. It's going to be lookish like it's real deal. Okay, guys, and let me see how many of you guys are watching. I can see 2 people are watching right now, right? Guys, how's the audio on the background? Is it without any disturbances? Because on my previous live stream, YouTube disturbed my audio. I'm not sure why they did it. They was doing that to my pre-recorded videos, and after I sent them the letter, they stopped doing that. But look like they still doing it on the live capture. How's the audio? Let me know in the chat, guys. If you can go ahead and do the chat, can you go ahead and let me know how's the audio? Is the audio alright? How's the audio out there? Let me go ahead and open up. Let me double check. I think audio is fine. Yep, audio should be just fine. So they overloaded my audio pretty badly. But anyways, so go ahead and open your model. I just opened, as you can see, the night, the first model. I'm going to go ahead and call it night right here under the stack at the right top corner. You probably already learned about the user interface, this basic user interface that you can see. Keep in mind that almost the same user interface will be like 90% identical in the latest 3ds Max Studio. Keep that in mind, will be almost the same. And so I'm not sure why it's playing the okay. Alright, so it will be almost the same user interface, about 90%. So at the, as you can see right here on the right side, we have the modifier list. Go ahead and select the model. You already probably learned how to do it. If not, click select and move tool right here with your left mouse button. Click on it and make sure it's selected. Click on the model. Okay, the model is selected. As you can see, it says it's selected. Please watch this video on 1440p or 1080p as minimum screen. I'm broadcasting it in 1440p because YouTube is not allowing to broadcast in 4K UHD. So this is the maximum broadcast quality in broadcasting in real time. Keep that in mind. So I'm coming in real time as well. So click on it and it says default, whatever you're going to import your scene, or you can already probably name your model. My model is default. I'm going to go ahead and call it night. It's nice when you're going to call every single 3D model, 3D object, so you're not going to get lost. Do not use the default names for it. And alright, so we got this one, night. Let me go ahead and import it. Click somewhere on the background. Make sure it's not selecting any other 3D objects, and using your third button, in middle button on your mouse, that kind of scrolling button, scroll out, and so we have only one model. Let's go ahead, and you probably learned all of this throughout the 3D modeling tutorial 101 by UHDk1ng, but just in case, if you're watching it, if you ultimate beginner but you want to learn how to texture and you're already familiar with the 3D modeling but still a beginner, I'm going to go ahead and explain every single step. So go ahead and click on this button right here. Sometimes it says file, sometimes it's a logo. It depends what kind of 3ds Max Studio that you're using, and click import right here. Import button. It's going to be import button, and I'm going to go ahead and import it all. So I'm going to import the bishop now. Let me go ahead and import the bishop. I created every single model, this 3D model, 3D mesh, 3D payment, whatever you want to call it. When you're working with the 3ds Max application, it's nice to call it 3D model, okay? If you're 3D artist. I created all those objects as OBJ format, which is the object format. So I created, I model every single object, right? Then I save it instead of not as max file, not as 3ds file, but as OBJ file. So in the future, you can do it while you're saving the scene. In the future, I can work with this 3D model in all kind of different applications, because OBJ format is kind of the format that's supported by almost all the 3D applications. Keep that in mind, like Cinema 4D, Blender, 3ds Max, Maya. OBJ format is kind of very popular format out there, 3D format, and I save it in that format. So right now I can integrate it in any application that I'm using. In our case, it's going to be 3ds Max application by Autodesk. Okay, and also when you're doing the 3D printing, it's nice to save your objects as OBJ files. So as again, it doesn't matter what kind of application you're using, you can still open it and do some modification and etc. Try to do that. So I save it as a OBJ, as you can see, file, and right now I select the OBJ and importing the OBJ. And OBJ pretty much is very old format. It was supported, I believe, since 2000 or 2002, something like that, in all popular applications: Cinema 4D, 3ds Max, Maya, LightWave. It used to be a LightWave. Also, it used to be a True Space, I believe, built before the Blender. It was the True Space, and I believe the Blender received a lot of foundation from a True Space, because when they shut down the True Space application, which was amazing, but it was kind of complicated, just like a Blender. It was, user interface was a little bit more complicated. For some people, the 3ds Max user interface could be a little bit of complicated, but it's not, trust me. So they pretty much discontinued that application completely. The company just closed, and but I believe they open sourced the application through Space, and I believe Blender received a lot of framework as foundation through the True Space, because it kind of looked like a True Space. But as again, if you're starting in 2024, 2025, 2026 as 3D artist, 3D modeler, 3D animator, or architecture even, I advise you to go ahead and learn the Blender. Blender application is much better application than 3ds Max, because it's free and it's open source. A lot of people supporting that application, and they are creating a lot of tools. While 3ds Max application by Autodesk costs tons of money in 2024 or 2025, 2026. It depends what year you're watching this video, and every single plugin is gonna cost you thousands of dollars. Keep that in mind. So this application is expensive. That's why I decided not to use any plugins at all, and I decided to go ahead and use the old school 3ds Max Studio, but in a way that's going to be applicable to all versions of the 3ds Max Studio without any plugins. Okay, so let's go ahead and import the Bishop. So this is going to be our second model. Okay, right here we got the Bishop, so I'm going to go ahead and click right here, select the Move tool right here, and let's go ahead and move it up like that. So I'm gonna pull it away, the knight, and we got the Bishop now. Okay, so if you don't have those type of tools, if your user interface kind of looking not as same as mine, it could be in newer version of the 3ds Max. Go ahead and click the Customize, and under the Customize it says the user interface UI. Go ahead and select the classic or default UI. Okay, it's going to be an option. Go ahead and look it up over here and select just the default one. All right, as again, throughout this video tutorial 101, I'm not going to use any plugins. It's going to work in any 3ds Max application, which is a great thing. Okay, so we got the Bishop. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Bishop. I selected the Bishop, and I'm going to name it Bishop. So we got another object, which is the Bishop. Let's go ahead and move that Bishop a little bit right there. Let's go ahead and import all the 3D objects that I created for this scene, so which is going to be completely objects for our chess. And I'm going to go ahead and open the pawn. Let's go ahead and do that. Import. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and name that as well, pawn. As again, keep a tradition, name your 3D objects so you're not gonna get lost and you're gonna know exactly what it is, and it's the best practice. Just like in Photoshop, you want to name every single layer, be organized so anybody who's going to open your work can have no issues at all. This is the best way as 3D artist, 3D animator, or graphics designer to work like this in the future. Keep in mind that every single those models which I'm using in my tutorial, 3ds Max texturing techniques and methods by UHDk1ng, I'm going to upload them for you to download for free, so you can download every single those objects, 3D objects, and you can work in your 3ds Max in the future. Okay, I'm going to share by the end of this live streaming, I'm going to share in the video description where you can download every single 3D object, and then you can use it and practice it. So you can, by watching this video, you can download the 3ds Max application, you can get the student license, you can download the trial version, or you can purchase the older versions like 2010 for $100, something like that, and use it without paying a fee every single year, just like Autodesk is asking license for every single year in 2024 of 3ds Max, which doesn't make any sense. It's almost $1,000. But you can get the older version, as again, on eBay or Amazon. Go ahead and check it out, guys. Anyways, and you can use those models. You can download those models that I'm going to use, and you can use them exactly as I'm doing it throughout this tutorial to practice. And it's nice for you to practice, try to practice a couple times until you're going to learn exactly what you're doing, guys. All right, so try to watch this video a couple times and practice. If you're gonna watch this video a couple times, that's why I'm explaining that's why this video is not going to be as fast as possible. It's going to be over 2 hours, but I will try to explain as best as possible for you. And if you're going to go and complete this tutorial at least once or a couple times, you're gonna get the 3D textures in 3ds Max to your heart. I promise you, guys. I will try to explain in easiest possible language, not like those people online. They rushing, they do quick. You do not understand. They want you to go ahead and click and follow up the instructions. So you're gonna watch only their videos to follow up the instructions every single time without understanding exactly what are you doing while applying those instructions or methods. Throughout my videos, I'm going to explain to you step by step, so it's going to be so easy to follow and easy to understand. So not only to follow the instructions, you will understand exactly what you're doing, because this is a very important thing. Okay, so we just did the pawn, bishop, knight. Let me go ahead and import more. As again, I'm clicking at this icon right here in some 3ds Max Studio application. It's gonna say just a file. Click on it, just like in Windows application, and select it. And as again, import. Click on import, and you can do the whole scene, but I advise you to save every single 3D model as OBJ file. As again, you can save it as 3ds file, but there is a different version of the 3ds files, and some of the 3ds files not going to be compatible in some of the applications. So that's why I advise you to save it as an OBJ file, so you can open in any applications, any versions of 3ds Max Studio, or any other applications, as again, Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and do the king now. We're gonna bring the king. We probably should first bring the queen and then king, but it doesn't matter. So this is going to be our king. Oh, king is already golden. Check it out. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. Click somewhere in the scene. Make sure it's not somewhere on the 3D object, and using your third mouse button, which is the roller, roll out. It's a camera in perspective view. It's a default camera that built in within the application, but you can set your own cameras. You can put the filters on it, apply the depth of field, aperture, all of this cool stuff that you can learn if you would be a photographer. I'm also a photographer, but if you are a 3D artist, 3D animator, it's a next step because it's a photography plus additional graphic design skills and 3D modeling, 3D animation, 3D texturing as the whole digital artist skills combined together. So to be a 3D artist is the next step from a photographer, keep that in mind, or from a cinematographer, because you can I can bring a camera, and I'm going to show it to you guys throughout this video. We can bring a camera and we can adjust it. We can adjust the aperture, depth of field, you know, angle, lenses. It's unbelievable, okay, within the application, which is unbelievable. So I just brought the king. Let's go ahead and click on it while using the select and move tool right here. Click on this 3D object in our viewport. Keep in mind, by the way, this is called viewport. We have all kind of different viewports here. This is going to be a perspective viewport, while we kind of can look at the 3D objects, 3D models as 3D. The other three viewports will be not a perspective viewport, but it's going to be a top viewport, front viewport, and left viewport. This is by default in 3ds Max application, something like that. You can bring just and work with just one viewport on a whole big screen when you're gonna get as professional. It used to be called as advanced professional mode. To do something like that, I'm advising you guys to work while you can see all the 4 viewports. It's going to be easier to see exactly what you're doing and get some more ideas throughout the process. Okay, so okay, yeah. Here we go. Let me alright, so there is a people watching. So alright guys, so here we go. And king, we just did the king. Let me go ahead and name it. So not default, but we're gonna call it king. This is going to be our model. And let's go ahead and bring the queen and one more. So import, and I'm going to go ahead and bring the queen. Here we go. Okay, let me go ahead and move the queen. Here we go. This is going to be our queen, and not default. Let's go ahead and rename that queen. Okay, right here, as you can see, I'm renaming it at the left top corner. Please watch my mouse cursor. That's why it's very important for you to watch this video as minimum 1080p, and I'm advising you to watch this video on this, if you're watching it on a small screen, at least on a screen 9.7 inches, which is the iPad, tablets, or 10 inches and above will be a great to watch it. And look after my mouse cursor. So I go ahead and name it queen. Okay, so this is going to be our queen, and let's go ahead and bring the last 3D object. We're gonna go ahead and bring the last 3D object. I'm gonna click this button, and I'm gonna click import, and it's going to be a rook. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the rook right here. Okay, it's right here. It's just hiding behind the king. Here we go. This is going to be a rook, a tower. Let me go ahead and call it rook. Here we go. Okay, so we got all our 3D objects, okay, that is required for the 3D chess. And right now we're going to go ahead and create a 3D scene. I'm going to bring and I'm going to create a board where we're going to pretty much place those objects, and we're gonna completely create a 3D chess scene over here, and then I'm gonna show you how to texture them as a metal, gold and silver, as a wood, as a glass. So all those kind of different materials, which is pretty much, if you're going to learn how to do that, then you're going to texture, or just how to bring them as your own image. whatever you can draw in Photoshop called textures. Okay, those maps that you can apply, those skins that you can wrap around those 3D objects called textures, 3D textures, and or maps. In some applications it's called maps. It could be diffuse map, normal map, bump map, and we're going to talk a lot about that as well over here, and I'm going to explain to you the differences on those maps. Also, the same techniques could be applied in some of the 3D game engines, but keep in mind that 3ds Max, Blender, or Cinema 4D is not designed to be as a game, 3D game, to render the scene in real time, but it's designed to render the scene as highest quality as possible with way higher multiplier in terms of million triangles of that scene as summary result, 10, 100 times more triangles that in 3D games, and this will create the whole scene much more photorealistic, and pretty much this is what they're using in Hollywood studios and while creating the movies, cinemas, and etc. Alright, so or some commercials. And 3ds Max Maya is used a lot as again because it's a standard. Used to be a standard before the Blender, but right now a lot of those companies using the Blender because right now they don't have to pay licenses. It's $1,000 if you, let's say, 3D animating company and 3D animation company, and if you're working in 3ds Max or Maya is even more expensive than 3ds Max application. It's gonna cost you a lot of money. So if you're starting, as again guys, in 2025, 2026, 2027, whatever you're watching this video, or 2024, you want to start with the Blender. Blender is the best. I also like the Cinema 4D. Cinema 4D is also easy as 3ds Max. It's not so complicated, but that type of application is commercial, and it's also as expensive as 3ds Max, but 3ds Max is much more expensive application, and then Autodesk Maya is on another level than 3ds Max, but you can achieve this similar result in 3ds Max as in Maya or in Cinema 4D or in Blender. As again, it doesn't matter what kind of application you're using, you just gotta understand exactly what you're doing, the basic, the foundation of the 3D rendering and animation, and you're going to be good. Then it's going to be up to your talents, how well you are as 3D artist and graphics designer to create that scene in any application that's going to look just fantastic, just like you're gonna see it throughout this video. As again, this video is not going to be as fast as possible. Throughout this video I'm trying to explain and share all type of information and knowledge that I gained over 20 years of experience. So okay guys, nice. So as you can see, you can use right here, there is going to be, you probably can see the icon right here, but it says the orbit tool. You click on that orbit tool, it's like a, you can see rotation icon, and you can rotate, do it like that. Do not use this rotation select and rotate button, because if you're gonna use this select and rotate button, you're gonna rotate like this. Let me show it to you, the model, but not the whole camera, not the whole view. Okay, do not do stuff like that. This is for the rotation of the 3D objects right here, those tools, and those tools right here, it's a rotation in the viewport right here at the bottom right corner. And as again, it doesn't matter what kind of 3ds Max Studio you're using, it always will be like this. And right here, this is just for the 3D models, while you're working with 3D models, while rotating, moving the polygons, which is triangles, or vertices, which is the dots, and lines, which is splines. This is the tools right here at the left top corner. But if you're trying to move the camera view or something like that, the tools will be right here. The viewport kind of with default camera, the tools will be right here at the bottom right corner, while the object is again at the left top corner. Alright, so we got everything right here. We got every single models here, which is great. Okay, so we're ready to go. And basically in chess it should be black and white. This is how it by default, but what we can do gold and glass, or we can do gold and wood, or we can do gold and silver, or something like that. And today I'm going to show you exactly how we can do it. Okay, the next thing what we gotta do, let's go ahead and bring that wood board, because usually chess has the wood board, and let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm going to model just that wood board. So I'm going to click right here on create under this tool at the right top corner. Click that icon. It's going to bring us to the create mode. Make sure that right here you also under the geometry. This is the basic geometry right here. Click on here on this icon, this little circle, and standard primitives. Make sure it's selected standard primitives. Okay, because if it's going to select something else, it's going to be something else. Make sure that you select in this tab standard primitives. The next thing, we're going to go ahead and click box. Click on the box. Okay, and then I'm going to use my top view port. That's why I love to have 4 viewports. And in the top view port, first of all, I click the right mouse button in that top view port so I can operate with that. And as you can see, the viewport went into yellow. Let's say if I want to bring back and work in my perspective, kind of rotate the view scene camera, I want to click the right mouse button in my perspective viewport right here. Where's the mouse cursor? Right mouse button. And right now this viewport is selected. It's in yellow, or sometimes could be a red, okay, or green. It depends what kind of 3ds Max application that you're using, so you understand which viewport I'm working in. So okay, so I'm right here. Let's go ahead and click here and start drawing the primitive. Primitive is a box. I click mouse button, and holding the mouse button, I'm kind of drawing that. So we're gonna create a board, okay, like that. And then so I created the board here, and then I'm going to create the depth of it, like that, the height. As you can see in my front viewport, I'm creating it. See that lines? I'm creating that additional geometry piece. Let's put it somewhere right there, like that, like that. Let me see, something like that. Okay. So if I'm gonna get back to the perspective view, click on perspective view, and kind of use right here, it's called the pen tool, pen view tool. It's kind of hand icon at the right top bottom corner. Right bottom corner, you can see I created the height as well. So this is going to be our board. Let's go ahead and find out. I forgot, what is the average dimension of the chess board. Let's say if it's chess board, what is the dimension for it? Chess board, probably it depends to the company that manufacturing it, but let's go ahead and find out. Usually it's going to be 8 by 8, which is the 64. So it's a 64 squares. Okay, so and as again, dimension, pretty much there is no kind of default dimension for the board, unless you know, if you're going to have more than or less than 64, but default chess should be the 64 squares. So 64 squares. So let's go ahead and make it so it should be square. Let's go ahead and make it 512 on length, on width 512 as well. So we're gonna kind of create it kind of the same, and on height -15. Let's keep it -15. As you can see, I'm typing under the parameters right here. On width 215 doesn't work for us. 512 right here, so it's a squared kind of. Okay, you can modify it, but just by default I click 512, 512, 512. If you're working as a 3D artist, they're doing some 3D printing, you can select and you can use centimeters, millimeters, you know, inches, feet, foot, whatever you want to do. You can set under the customization window, go to customization, preference, and customize it there. But I'm just going to use the basic parameters, length, width, and height within the 3ds Max without the centimeters, millimeters. It's just a basic one. Okay, so we press that. We are here with that. Okay, that's cool. Now let me go ahead and use the orbit tool right here. I click right here. As again, let me zoom in to show you there is a tools. This is going to be at the right bottom corner. Oops, my screen right now is 1440p, 2560 by 1440p. I created for you, so you're gonna see everything what it is. So I use the zoom tool right now. This is at the right bottom corner right here, the orbit tool. See that orbit tool? And we use the pen tool right here. I'm gonna try to zoom in for you. We're also going to use, sometimes we're gonna use this tool right here, which is the field of view, which you can control the field of view of the camera of the viewport in perspective mode. Let me zoom out. So we got the board, right? So let's assume this is our wood board for now. It could be metal. We're gonna create whatever we want it, but it's just a board. So it says box 01. Let's go ahead and create it. Chessboard. Okay, we're gonna give it a name, chessboard. Okay, the reason why it's also a great thing to name your objects all the time and name them without the space, or just maximum with the dashes, or just like I'm naming it like this as a software developer, chess and then board with the capital first letter, because the 3ds Max Studio, 3ds Max application by Autodesk has its scripting ability. You can write the scripts, or you can use the scripts that's going to have some code by some very talented 3D artists and software developers, and you can apply that code. You can create additional abilities in 3ds Max that to pretty much create your 3D modeling job easier, or 3D texturing job much easier. It depends. It's just writing some code, and it's nice if you're going to name every single object as a software developer, just like I'm doing it, without a space and even without the dashes, like chess board. You can recognize it and you know exactly what it is. Chess board with the first capital. That means that all what you gotta do then just copy paste that script, that code by some talented individual that wrote in 3ds Max scripting script. As you can see, Max script right here, so you can write a script and then replace their variables of their 3D objects with your names, and everything will be working. That's another good idea why you want to do exactly like that, guys. Okay, why you want to name your 3D objects, and you want to be organized, just like in Photoshop, because you can use the script, you can use the code, you can use the 3ds Max API. I'm not sure how you are familiar as with the software development. I'm also a software developer, over 10 years of experience, but this is another great idea when you're gonna go on advanced level as 3ds Max animator or an artist. It's going to be easier for you. Okay, so keep this as a good habit to name your objects. Okay, that's what I'm advising you. Alright, so this is the board. So by pressing M button on your keyboard, this is the same thing in all kind of 3ds Max, even in the latest 3ds Max. What I find out always was like that by default. This is the short key. By pressing M button while you in a viewport, you're gonna bring the material editor, okay, where you can go ahead and start bringing some textures on those 3D objects, such as a skin. For those who's not familiar with the texture, to apply some skin, like a metal skin on that 3D object, wood skin, or your custom painted skin, or whatever you want to do, glass skin, lookish like a ray trace glass, etc. So this is how you do it. You got to bring the material editor, okay, by pressing M button on your keyboard. If it doesn't work, then there is another way to bring it. I believe it's under the view, if I'm not mistaken. Tools, material editor should be here somewhere under the things. If they're gonna change that, the hot button in the newer 3ds Max. Let's say if you, because as again, those methods and those techniques will be available in no matter what 3ds Max application that you're working with. But let's say if they're going to change the short keys, I'm trying to think in the future, you can still find it over here. Just go ahead and look under this options right here. It's going to say material editor, and right here under the rendering capabilities, it's gonna expand, and material editor, click on it, it appears and disappears if you're gonna click on it, or M button. You can see the short key button right here, it's M button. This is by the default, guys, since 2005 2004. Okay, so we brought that. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to go ahead and apply this map right here, which is the second map, not the first one but the second one. It's 02 default. Let's go ahead and call it chessboard. Chessboard, every single word with the capital, board texture, and so I'm gonna know exactly what it is. This material, it's also called the material, okay, or a texture, chessboard texture, and I'm going to go ahead, but I'm going to call it as texture because it can have complications of the materials mixed together into the shaders, into some other materials. So we're gonna call it as texture because texture is combination of all kind of different, could be a combination of all kind of different materials and shaders, okay. And shaders is combination of all kind of different materials or maps. Sometimes materials can be called map, okay. As again, this is map or material as a what kind of skin, like a glass skin, metal skin, wood skin, plastic skin, paper skin, okay, chocolate skin, sapphire skin, chessboard texture, okay. So we named that. It's our second one right here, as you can see, and I'm going to click on diffuse right here. It's a diffuse map under this texture, and which is the diffuse skin, and I'm going to select the red color for now, so we're gonna know exactly what it is. Let's go ahead and click on that. So right now this material is red, but nothing happens right here, right, because we gotta apply this texture, this map to this 3D object, okay. So the best way how you can do that, you gotta pretty much select first, click right here, select and move tool right here at the left top corner where my mouse cursor, guys. Please watch exactly where my mouse cursor, click on here, make sure this icon is selected, click somewhere in a 3D space, make sure that you're not clicking somewhere on 3D objects, and then again click here, make sure it's selected, and click on this board, make sure it's selected. You're gonna see it's selected, and then make sure this material is selected as well, and there is an icon right here, even in the newer 3ds Max, the same user interface. By the way, the material editor in the newer 3ds Max application will be a little bit different. They have two different material editors. They have kind of new ways, futuristic material editor, which is for a beginner will be hard to follow, and this material editor that I'm using in 2010 3ds Max, 64-bit version or 32-bit version, doesn't matter, will be called in the 3ds Max 2012, 2011, I mean 2022, sorry, 2022, 2021 3ds Max Studio. It's going to be called as Legacy Material Editor or Basic Material Editor. It depends what kind of 3ds Max Studio you're using. In 2010 it was only one material editor, but in newer 3ds Max application is going to be a new 3D material editor, which will be a little bit complicated. It's not going to look like that, but if you're going to end up in something like that, just go ahead and go under the options. Under the options is going to say go ahead and bring the basic or legacy material editor. Click on that, and it's gonna bring that material editor exactly as you want it. Go ahead and click on that, and it's gonna bring you this type of material editor. It's gonna look just like this, exactly just like this. It's going to be a newer 3ds Max applications such as 3ds Max 2021, 3ds Max 2022, 3ds Max 2024. Okay, so we selected this material. This our chessboard texture as we call it, and there is an icon right here. By hover your mouse over this icon, is going to say assign material to selection. You're going to click on it, and we're going to assign this material, which is the texture, to a selection, which is our 3D object, whatever is highlighted, which is single 3D primitive, 3D object, 3D model. We just assign that. So let's go ahead and render it right now. Let's go ahead and see where we at this point of time. Exactly where we at. So I'm going to go ahead and click rendering. And under the rendering, you can go ahead and click render. And this is exactly what we see in our viewport. We can render it exactly as you can see. Red board, exactly as we did red board for now. And all the colors of the 3D objects of our chess figures, just like that. Okay? Alright, so what we're gonna do, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Let's go ahead and have a look and render it again. Rendering. Beautiful. They're all looking great, by the way. It's a great 3D models. Alright, so next, if you want a bigger screen, if you want to render it much higher resolution, you want to go ahead and click rendering. It's going to pull up the options and go ahead and click on render setup. Okay, under the render setup, you can select under the command tab. If you're going to go command tab, you're going to select the resolution. If your computer is slow, maybe you can render the drafts that you're doing at lower resolution, not the final image. Final, you can render exactly image size that you wanted as a frame. But let's say if you're doing kind of on a slow computer, 3D modeling or 3D work, whatever you're doing, 3D animation, just select 800 by 600 or 600 by 480, this smaller size, and it's going to render it much quicker. So the higher amount of the image size, width and height will take longer to render. Keep that in mind. Okay, so 4K will take much longer. You can, if you're gonna switch to custom, you can select all kind of different cameras, pre-built it in Hollywood, as you can see, but you can go custom and select your own resolution. Let me go on 1940 by 1080, 1940 by 1080, and you're gonna see it's gonna take much longer to render this. Okay, check it out. But the image will be much bigger, and we can see exactly what's going on. It's beautiful. Okay, 1940 by 1080. Today I'm running on the Intel i9 9900K processor that came with 16 threads, 8 physical cores, 16 threads. Let me show it to you right here, and check it out. When I'm gonna go ahead and click to render it, it's gonna utilize all the CPU cores, CPU threads. Check it out. See that? But just because the scene is not, our 3D scene is not so complicated, it's kind of not so hard. Okay, check it out. A single core. I'm using a single core to broadcast. Everything else is available to us right now. Okay, so every single core, every single threads in our under Windows 10 professional operating system that I'm using today, 64-bit. As you can see, 16 threads. This is the i9 9900K. 3ds Max Studio can utilize easily 256 threads without any issues. So the more threads, the more cores that you have on your CPU, the faster 3D rendering will be. Okay guys, hopefully I explained it pretty well for every single beginner. Okay, so alright, so we're done here. Let's go ahead and fix up the board a little bit, shall we? So this is the board is selected. As you can see, I'm in my perspective viewport. It says box. So this is just a regular right now 3D primitive. So let's go ahead and right click on this box where it says box. Right click of your mouse button and editable poly. Let's name it as editable poly. Convert it to editable poly. From a regular 3D primitive geometry, we're going to convert it to the polygon geometry, so we can operate with every single side of that 3D primitive, like every single triangle. And polygons is like a triangles, but it could be more than triangles. It can be combination of squares, triangles, etc. Okay, so right here, selection, there's vertices, it's a dots. You can select just the dots. Right here I just selected those two dots. Let me zoom in to show it to you. There is every geometry connected with the dots. There is a lines that connected to every single geometry. See that? And over here it's kind of ugly. I know it's ugly. That's why you want to render as high resolution, so it's going to smooth out this and you're going to see those edges. Or you can apply the anti-aliasing method that's going to smooth out those edges throughout the rendering setup. I'm going to show you how to do it throughout this video, 101 of rendering in 3ds Max. So those dots, okay, you can select the dots called vertex or vertices, multiple dots, vertices. You can select the splines, which is connecting those dots, or you can select the triangles or squares that is forming out of the dots and splines, like this right here, this square. Okay, check it out. See that? It's selected, it's in red. Sorry, I picked the color red, so it's kind of in red. Okay, we can select this one right here, just this one. This is a polygon. It's called polygon. It could be a square or triangle, but it's called polygon in 3ds Max by Autodesk, as well in Maya, as well as in Blender and Cinema 4D, in those type of applications. Okay, so you can pretty much work with just that surface. Okay, if you under the selection in polygon mode right here, see that it says polygon mode. Let me zoom in and show it to you. Under this selection right here, it says when you click on it, it's a polygon mode. When it's yellow, it's selected. It could be a green or blue color when it's selected. It depends what kind of Windows application that you're using and what kind of version of the 3ds Max, but you got an idea, guys. Alright, you can deselect that, and now you can select just the whole 3D object, or select it back, and now you can only select just the polygons. Okay, you can modify this. Let me go ahead and move it and show it to you. I can move just this polygon, and it's going to change the 3D primitive, that 3D object, to a different dimensions. As you can see, I can add additional details by moving those every single polygon the way I want it. I want to split it, I want to modify it, extrude it. You can do all of this, but you gotta switch to a polygon mode to be able to do that. Let me undo. There is a button right here, undo scene operation. Also, guys, it's a great idea all the time to save it. So I'm gonna go ahead and click the save file button. I already named this as a scene number 1, and save as a different scene. So if you're gonna do a mistake as a beginner, you can always go to the previous save file. Let's say if you're gonna do the mistake and now you just realize that you did a mistake, like after 3 hours of modeling or after 3 hours of texturing. So it's also great to save after every single important step that you're doing, and create just additional file. Those files like 1 megabytes, 2 megabytes, 5 megabytes, they're not so biggie. In 2024, 2025, 2026, pretty much you can create you know, on a 1 terabyte hard drive, you can create millions of scenes without any issue. So go ahead and try to save them as much as you can, because it's gonna save you the time. Always save after every single complex modification to your scene. It's a great idea, trust me. And also, when you're gonna open the 3ds Max Studio, you're not gonna see the FPS, you're not gonna see the vertices and polygons right here, total. As you can see, it's a great thing to have a control exactly how much polygons you have on your scene. Vertices as a dots, polygons as you already are on triangles or squares, and FPS. It's a great to put up this information. So let's say if you are a 3D modeler or 3D animator, and if you are developing a game, let's assume that, or if you're working for a game developing company, you want to keep your eye at the polygons, because for the games, for the applications that rendering 3D in real time, okay, you want to keep your eye at the polygons count, because the higher polygons count, the slower rendering happens. And in the games, the rendering in real time should be as fast as possible, especially for the gamers, for the users with the low budget devices. So you want to keep your eye right here. But just because 3ds Max is not a real-time 3D rendering application, and I'm not working right now with this 3D scene for 3D game developing company, it's not going to be for any game development project, I don't care about it, but I have it as a habit. I also brought it just to control and to get an idea what is the polygons count on my 3D scene. So how to bring this menu? This menu is built in within the 3ds Max Studio, and how to bring this up. So you gotta click somewhere in 3D scene and make sure that there is no 3D object is selected. Make sure you're not selecting anything. Just click somewhere on void and click on your keyboard letter 7 disabled, and letter 7 again enabled. See, you can bring, and I believe it's working since 3ds Max 7 or 3ds Max 7, I believe, or even 3ds Max 5th will have this thing. By pressing on your keyboard button 7, you can enable disable. And it's nice to have that because in that viewport, because at least you know exactly how many polygons per scene, so you have a kind of better clue. The higher polygons count, as again, the much detailed scene is, and less those edges. Remember those edges, and I'm going to show you how to smooth out those edges through all kind of different techniques throughout this video, so stay tuned. I cannot tell you everything. I'm trying to do step by step, and as again, this is 101. I'm assuming that you're ultimate beginner, and it's going to work no matter what 3ds Max application that you're using. So please be patient, and you're gonna learn a lot, guys. All right, so here we go. So we brought it. All right, so we got it. Let me maybe change this to a green color. I think the blue, not the blue, yellow color, because it's going to be easier for us. As you can see, after I modify my chessboard texture right here, diffuse map, everything what I modified already updated automatically in perspective, which is nice. Okay, let's go ahead and render it. Yellow will be better color because I can show you when I'm going to select the polygon is going to be red, so you're going to know exactly which polygon that I'm working with. That's why on the keyboard there is a button F9. If you're going to press this button and your perspective, make sure that perspective viewport is selected by pressing right mouse button in that port. It's a yellow, red, or blue can be. Press F9 button on your keyboard. It's a short key for the rendering, default rendering, whatever you did it on the custom preset of the rendering or under the default custom preset of the rendering by the application is going to render it just like that. We just set it to 1920 by 1080, so it's going to render just like that. And F9 button, this is the short key since 3ds Max 5th, if I'm not mistaken, in 2005. Okay, we got this, guys, this thing. So, and just because I'm working with the polygons right now, if I'm gonna click somewhere here, as you can see, this polygon is selected here, this polygon is selected. That's why I made it yellow, so you're gonna understand what is the polygon for those who's curious. Okay, so polygon is going to be triangle or square, and pretty much it's going to be 3 or 4 or 5 dots connected with the splines. It's called polygon. Okay, it's not a rocket science, guys, and this is not a rocket science. If you're going to watch my 3D tutorials or graphics design tutorials, I'm going to go with step-by-step instruction, just like I would like to see it, and everybody will understand exactly what's going on. I will pay my time and will put my experience to it, so you're gonna understand as a regular user. Okay, so we got this part. Let's go ahead and now let's go ahead and put the texture on it. Let's go ahead and put the texture on top, just like a chess has a texture, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click under the maps, extend this right here, the maps. As you can see, I click on the map tab and I extend it. Okay, if you're gonna click it again, you can close it, or click it on the maps, you can extend it on that plus sign with your left mouse button, and you can apply additional maps and additional values to it, which is nice, and create it more photorealistic, like reflection map, so it's going to reflect, bumpy map. You can define the geometry even without 3D modeling. You can define it through the textures, okay? And I'm going to show you those techniques throughout this video as well. So for people on low budget computers, it's going to render faster if you're not going to create the details throughout the 3D modeling, but if you're going to create the details throughout the texturing procedures while you're going to texture that 3D model, 3D object, you can create the bumpy cracks and stuff like that on your textures instead of modeling it. It's going to be much easier to do that, and it's going to take less time to render each single frame. Keep that in mind. On those people that doesn't have so many CPU cores, so many threads, so it's going to render much faster. It's kind of cheating method, and while creating additional geometry throughout the textures. And throughout this video I'm going to show you some of them, but not a lot of them in 101, because this is 101 for ultimate beginner. It's going to be an advanced texturing techniques and methods by UHDk1ng that you don't want to miss. But this is 101, this is the basic, but I'm going to underline it for you guys. I'm going to make sure that you understand. Okay, so here we go. And there's also dynamic properties options that we're not going to discuss, direct managers that we're not going to discuss, mental ray connection, which much more advanced rendering techniques. We're not going to talk about it, because even without those, you can achieve a photorealistic fast results, guys. Okay, trust me. And after watching this video, you're going to find out exactly how and why and what you got to do to achieve that. But go ahead and please download those 3D objects, those 3D models I'm going to include in video description, and try it a couple times to understand exactly what you're doing by following my tutorial. Alright, so diffuse. I can apply texture to it, not just a color. Right now it's just a yellow color. By doing that, I'm going to click right here by the color. There's like a square, click on it, and there's all kind of different things. I can apply the bitmap. By pressing bitmap, it's going to be an image. You can draw something. Let's say if this would be a picture that you want to hang on the wall, you're going to create kind of box, and you're going to apply the picture of yourself as an image. You can select the photo and apply it as a bitmap, and it's going to be your image, your photo right there. Or if you're going to paint it something there, like cracks and nice rusty metal or something like that, you can apply it, okay, as a bitmap, as an image itself, as an image file, a JPEG, PNG. It's supporting all kind of different image file standards formats under the 3ds Max. But what I'm gonna do, or some different type of abilities, like a noise. I can apply the noise when it's going to be like white spots and darker spots. Is going to create some sort of like a noise. Let me go ahead and demonstrate it for you. Let's go ahead and try the noise. It's already going to be pre-built some abilities for you, or some tile or something like that. So let's go ahead and check it out. So I click on that, and let's go ahead and have a look. As you can see, texture is not updated. If it's not going to be a color, if it's going to be much more complicated than a single color, it's not going to be updated here. First of all, let me go ahead and remove the selection from polygon. Just double click on it, just as an object itself. So I'm just going to look as an object right now, not as a top polygon, just as an object. As you can see, that noise texture is not updated yet. The reason why, even when it's selected, I just, from yellow color, I went to more than one color, and it's not updated. Okay, so the reason why, there is a button right here, show standard map in viewport, right here. It should be selected. You click on that. Now it's going to be updated. No, even if you're going to have multicolor texture or an image, it's going to be automatically available here for you, and it will be updated after you're going to apply the settings. The reason why, because the 3ds Max, as again, was established all the way before 2000, the year 2000, by Autodesk, and people during that time had a single core CPUs, very slow computers, and they kind of disable those options just for the people with the low budget computers. So make sure this button right here, this icon, is selected, it's clicked. Show standard map in viewport. So even if it's going to be an image or a complex map, it's going to show now in viewport. Okay, so you're going to see it. Let's go ahead and render it. So make sure the viewport is selected. You can press F9, or you can go rendering, click on rendering and click render. Now we can see this. Okay, we can see our beautiful kind of noisy map texture that was pre-built, and we can manipulate with values. We can create smaller, larger those spots. We can create the bumps in the dark spots, so it's going to be bumpy, and then we can apply additional wood texture to it, so it's going to be wood texture with the bumpy. So it's going to be the texture will be created out of the different maps in combination of the maps together. This is why you have all those abilities such as the diffuse map and etc, etc, etc. Right now we are under the noise. To get back to see all those textures, click go to parent, this button right here. It's pretty simple. As you can see, it's not a rocket science. Right here, if you're gonna click left mouse button, you're gonna go back. So we just selected and we were working only with the diffuse map, but right now you can apply the specular map. You can create a bump instead of this noise map. Instead of creating as our diffuse map, you can use that noise map and create it as a bump, and the darkest part will be like inside, and the brighter spots will be outside. And if it's going to be wood, it's going to be kind of old wood and with this kind of bumpy texture to it. Okay, but this was an example. But let's go ahead and work and how to create a bump. You're gonna go ahead and expand these maps as I told you. Let's go ahead and click this dynamics properties. We're not gonna work with that at all. By pressing on this face, on this name, direct manager, or on plus minus. It doesn't work in 3ds Max 2010 if I'm gonna press my mouse button. Oh, it works. It works. Sorry, I just didn't exactly put on that. So maps. Click on maps and bumps. If I'm gonna apply the same noise, and you can copy it like this, holding left mouse button and put it under the bumps. Bumps gonna create the bumpy experience, and you can, by how much you can adjust the value. Let's say 300. Okay, so check it out what's going to happen now. Let me go ahead and render it. As again, I brought this menu when I can render it as a render setup, which is under the rendering right here, render setup. You can have it all the time, but you know, it's kinda blocky on your base of the viewports. You can click render, shift Q, or F9. F9 is the default key, F9, and it's going to render. See, like right now it's created as bumpy, the dark and spots. And if it's going to be not a gray, if it's going to be a wood, it's going to be kind of old wood with the bumps. Let me go ahead and show it to you real quick. So this is a combination of two different maps as our final texture. Okay, made out of the two different maps, diffuse map and bump map. Okay, let's go ahead and go under diffuse color right here, and instead of diffuse noise, click on that noise. I click the left mouse button under the noise, and it brought to us the menu. You can put the bitmap, you can put the texture that you took a picture of your wood table. From the top of wood table, you can apply that, or there is some pre-builds here. There is already, since 3ds Max 5.5, I believe, those pre-builds, even 5 version, but 5.5 had more pre-builds. It has more like a metal texture to it. 3ds Max 5th version didn't have, in 2005, didn't have the metal abilities. People was creating metals by themselves, but right now everything is pre-built here. Let's go ahead and select the wood. Let me show it to you how combination of two maps working. See, this is the wood right here, so it's already created a wood texture, so you don't have to take a picture. The discard old map, I'm going to select that, so it's already kind of woody texture to it. It doesn't show exactly woody texture here under the viewport, because you can select, and it's going to, because it's consumed some your system performance to do that. So it's going to be just a basic colors. If you're gonna click right here in this texture, left mouse button, double click, you can see how this texture will look like. Final one is going to be rendered. Some ideas, but always a great idea to render it and see how it's going to look like. Let me go ahead and render it with F9. Check it out. But as again, make sure that you selected the viewport, pressing F9 button. So it's kind of pre-built woody texture. It's kind of pre-built created by the artificial intelligence, by the computer. It's not the image. You can apply the image, make it so beautiful, but you can already see the bumps. There is some bumps, guys, because we don't have right now the light, but if the light will expose those black spots, will be like a bumps into that wood. And I don't have a light yet, so as you can see, the models, 3D models, doesn't cause the shadows yet because we didn't bring any light yet, but those spots will create, actually it will create, guys, the bumps. Okay, but anyways, let's go ahead and get rid of that wood texture. Let's go ahead and go to parent, press on this icon right here, go to parent, and let's disable for now the bump completely. I don't need to have no bumps. Let's go ahead and render it without the bumps. Let me show you how without the bumps. So it was combination of two different textures as two different maps as a final texture, but right now only one texture. Okay, kind of wood without the picture. You can take a picture of the wood and apply that. As again, you just gotta select it as a beat map. Okay, and right here under the wood, instead of pre-selected wood, right here on this button, click wood, click on it, select just a beat map and apply a beat map. Let me try to show it to you. Click on beat map and let me apply the skies, so you're gonna have an idea. It's already the textures that I have here. Picture of the sky. It can be any image, and it's not showing because as I show you, it's not showing the skies in viewport. As I told you, you gotta click the show standard map in viewport button right here. You gotta click on it, make sure it's selected. Now we can see it. It's a texture of our sky, just an image. F9 to render it on your keyboard, or if it doesn't work, go to rendering and render. See that? You can take a picture of your table and it's going to be a picture of your table or picture of actual chessboard, wood chessboard, and it's going to be exactly as it is, but you gotta adjust your camera, put it on a tripod, make sure everything is perfect, then cut it out, the whole image in Photoshop. It's a lot of work. In 3ds Max, there is tools and it's easier to do it without all of this, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in a few seconds. Alright, so we got this part. Let me go ahead and go to parent, this button right here. So 1 second, guys, 1 second. Hopefully music is not that loud, guys. How's the music? Is it too loud or not that loud? Let me skip on that track. For people that listening, how's the music, guys? Can you tell me how's the music? Is it not too loud? It's not over my voice? It shouldn't be over my voice, but let me know. Anyways, let me go ahead and switch the track because the person was singing. By the way, all the audio tracks, the music tracks are all rights reserved. There is no royalties can be claimed. I purchased the licenses. That's why I'm playing it, guys. So the audio is licensed. Alright, so let's go ahead and keep going, guys. And instead of the picture of the skies applied to the as you can see, it's applied to every single polygon. It's going to apply that picture to every single polygon. You can just apply it to the top or to every single polygon, but just because the whole 3D object was selected, not just a polygon, it's applied to every single polygon. Let me show you real quick so you're gonna know the idea. Let me bring with the undo button before we created the noise. When it was just a yellow background, let me go ahead and do that. Always save it because 3ds Max sometimes crashing. Keep that in mind. Okay. So always try to save it because 3ds Max will crash. It will crash, guys. Okay, so it's saved. Excellent. So what we're gonna do now, So let's go ahead and instead of that diffuse color, it's just a yellow. Let me apply the sky not to the whole 3D object, but just to the top polygon. So you're gonna, the reason why I'm doing that, so you're gonna have your brain going to register the idea for those beginners. So first of all, right now, as you can see, the whole object is selected, and if I'm going to apply the texture by pressing this button right here, I'll assign material to selection right here. See that? Let me zoom in for you. Assign material to selection. As again, I'm running 2560 by 1440p because this is the resolution that I'm streaming, that I'm broadcasting. I brought the resolution, and so you can see every single writing, even if you're watching it on your tablet or iPad and doing after watching it on your desktop. But you're gonna click this button first, assign the whole texture to the every single polygon. It's going to, every single polygon is going to reassign to every single. But let's say I want to assign just to the top, that sky texture. You click on here on polygon, and then you select that, or assign the sky just on this side, or assign the sky just on that side. Select the side that you want to assign. Then we're gonna go ahead and click map, and instead of noise, it was by default, I'm gonna click on noise, this button right here on noise, left mouse button, and click on bitmap. Thank you so much for letting me know that audio is fine, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Q36BN, thank you so much. And just apply the skies right here. Okay. Next thing, I want to make sure that show standard map in viewport is selected. And now, it's supposed to apply just to a texture, but it applied to every single thing. That's strange. Oh, because I changed the yellow color to an image. That makes sense. But if I'm going to apply, check it out. If I'm going to select just this side right here, and I'm going to say go ahead and apply this material right here, the first one that we didn't touch yet, let me click on it and show it in the viewport. It's going to be a different material is applied. Check it out. Editable poly. So now it's going to be sky on top. And on the side, I applied that golden sky. It's a different golden sky. The reason why I using those images, because you can emulate the metal. In 3ds Max 5th version, it wasn't any ability for you to create metal with easy couple clicks. You gotta emulate it. And I'm going to show you this by the end of this video, two different techniques, how to use their pre-built metal abilities on the industrial maps and etc., and how to emulate yourself, how to create your own metal from scratch. But anyways, as you can see, two different things is applied. Let me go ahead and save that, and I'm going to go ahead and undo. Okay, we're gonna start with the yellow. I don't care about that. We're gonna start just with the yellow color, and under the maps, we don't want to have no diffuse for now. Oh, not that texture. I click on a different texture. See, like this texture is selected. I'm gonna go to this texture selected. Diffuse material here. All right, just like that. Let's go ahead and save that. So let me go ahead and create the chessboard. So you got an idea, guys, right? So you can apply it just to a selection, but if you want to apply something just to a selection, you want to make sure that you apply all kind of different materials here into the material browser, material editor. Make sure it's a different set of material, because otherwise, if you cannot apply one material to a different parts. It's not possible in 3ds Max. Okay. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna apply on the top, I'm going to apply this material right here. We're gonna create a third material. It's going to be top chessboard texture, just a top. So it's going to be chessboard texture and just a top texture right here. Okay, let me apply that gray color so you're gonna see what's up. Click on this button right here, assign material to selection, and selection is a top polygon while the site is yellow. And now I'm gonna click this button right here, show standard map in viewport. Make sure it's selected like that, And check it out, guys. Let me save that real quick. Just because I'm under the edit polygon mode right here, which is the polygon mode, it's red, but it shouldn't be red, it should be gray because it's selected. So let's go ahead and deselect that. Let's click on this again. So it deselected is gray, as you can see, right? So just let's go ahead and render just to find out what's going on. Rendering, render, or click somewhere in viewport and click F9, but make sure that nothing is selected. So exactly like what we want. Yellow as our chessboard is going to be a wood color, and top chessboard texture is gray now, but we're gonna make it as a chessboard, 64 squares. Okay, let me show you how to, without the Photoshop, how to do it. So how to do it without the Photoshop, easy peasy. So we're gonna click right here, this button right here, by the color of diffuse. It's gray right now, but we're gonna click on that, and it's going to be a chess right here. Check it out, already pre-built it for us. Checker, pre-built it kind of plugin, which is free. It's free pre-built it in any 3ds Max since 3ds Max 5th version, even the 4th version. Click on this checker, and we only have four. We only have 4 squares. Okay, render. We only have 4 squares. Alright, guys, you can see it, right? But we gotta make 64. Let me show you how to modify that. So you're gonna learn how to create your own textures as plugins for free. So we cannot have 4. We can only have 64 as default, right? 8 by 8, 64. On each side it should be 8. So make sure this one, top chessboard texture, is selected, and right here there is a tiling. See that tiling option? Y and V. So make sure it's checkmark, tiling, and angle is 0. You can disturb that through the angle, the way it's going to be disturbed, but you don't want to do that. You can mirror it like that. It's going to create an additional. You can mirror only by U or mirror it by both U and V. So now it's going to be, but it's mirroring. It's like a mirror. We don't want to mirror. We just want to select tile. So this is another option for those creative people. So you're going to know exactly what you want to do. And instead of 1 tiling, we want to create by 8. U by 8 and V by 8. Check it out, guys. 8 by 8, 64. This is our chess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope. We gotta create 4 by 4 because each side has 4 and enemy has the 4. 4 by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the chessboard, guys. And you can do it with the image. You can split the image. Let's say if you're going to take an image, you can split it like that. And if you're going to have a seamless texture, you can use the tile abilities right here. Create it smaller, larger, the way you want it. And it's going to be unlimited. It's going to be seamless combination if the texture will be seamless. If the texture, if photo is not going to be seamless, then it's going to go ugly. Okay, so instead of colors, black and white, you can do the maps. Let me show it to you. Click on none right here, maps button none, and go to bitmap. Click on bitmap and select the picture. You can do it as well on each element. Check it out. We can do the but make sure this part is selected right here. Show standard map and viewport. So you're gonna see it, and like that, and right here is selected. Okay, and if you're gonna render it, let me render it. You're gonna see it. It's not updated for us because I gotta go to parent, and I'm gonna make sure under the parent show standard map and viewport is also selected, so it's going to update. But unfortunately it's not updating in this 3ds Max. It's kind of older 3ds Max, but you can enable this option. This is under the option of the customization. You can go to the option and you can enable. It's kind of designed for the low budget computers, for the slow computers, so it doesn't show exact the way it's going to render because it consumes a lot of system RAM throughout the time. In 2010 was only the dual core CPUs, guys, and the memory was 4 gigabytes total. That's why. But you can enable that under the option and it's going to do that, or you can just render to see what's going on. If it's not showing, just render it to see what's going on, just to see. And if you're gonna render it, and if it's going to render, then you're Gucci. So this part is nice, but let's go ahead and bring it back to black and white, right? Let's go ahead and bring it back. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to click on diffuse, because diffuse map is pretty much whatever the color is painted that screen. But there is a bump map additional, and combination with diffuse can create an additional details without modifying the geometry. Okay, so clicking on M. Okay, so tiling 4, but instead of this image, we're gonna say click on this image, and it says bitmap here. We're gonna click on bitmap here, and we're gonna say none again. We just want the color. Double click left mouse button, and we're gonna close the menu itself. Here we go, black and white. Let's go ahead and start it with black and white for now. Okay. So let me show you something else. Let's go to parent. So we created a perfect chessboard. Black and white. It's kind of basic if you're gonna render it. Check it out. Render. But it's not so bad. But let's go ahead and make it kind of metal one, or on yellow but bumpy. Let's say white and black will be bumpy, and white is not going to be bumpy. How to do that? Or white will be bumpy and black is not going to be bumpy. How to do it? Standard. You bring up the standard. You under the standard, so you in the main general of the map texture without additional maps. And go ahead and open up the maps. Double click on that maps, and this diffuse color checker is already ready. Bring it to bumpy. Mouse left button on it and hold it and scroll it to the bumpy. Bring it to the bumpy. You can select, as you saw, copy, all kind of different abilities. I selected just a copy, and over here remove the diffuse color. So have a look what it's gonna do now. It's not updating somehow in real time, but if I'm gonna render it, it's going to update it. Check it out. If I'm going to render it, it's going to update it. Let's go ahead and remove that. It's kind of great because, as again, under the menu of 3ds Max, because it's kind of older 3ds Max 2010 from 2010. It's a version 3ds Max 2010. It doesn't do it, but you can adjust that. Just right-click button in your viewport. You can see how to render the items and such. Smooth and highlights, perspective right here. Flat. You can adjust all viewport background. You can adjust all kind of different abilities, but it's going to create an additional load on your computer. And while you're modeling, while you're doing the basic things, most likely if you're running on a low budget PC, this is not a low budget PC, but in 2024 this is not the high end, because I'm about to build 2 Xeon Platinum that are going to have 192 cores and 192 threads. Logical cores, 192 of them. Right now I'm running 16 logical threads, 16 logical processors, and I'm about to build 192 logical processors. Imagine that. And then it's going to be so much faster, especially when when the scene will get complex with the reflection, shadows, beautiful metal figures. It's going to take that CPU threads like unbelievable. You're going to see it, and it's going to take a lot of system RAM as well. So if you don't want to have something like that, you want to have your 3ds Max at basic. So it doesn't show us, just like this material show us. As you can see, material show us that it's supposed to bring the bumps, but it doesn't show us in the viewport, in the perspective view. But if you're going to render it, it's going to show. See that? always render to see the final version if you're running under the default settings of your viewport, perspective viewport, and I do it just to save myself some resources, just because, as again, I'm broadcasting, so I'm not going to stress my computer, because 3ds Max application can stress your computer all the way, guys. It can stress all the CPU threads, all those CPU logical processors, CPU logical cores, over 256 cores, guys. I saw it, and that's why, again, I'm building the Xeon Platinum, and we're gonna have a lot of tutorials. I'm going to do the 3D animation videos over UHDk1ng YouTube channel, and I'm gonna do it and sell it over the image and video stocks. It's going to be beautiful artistic video by UHDk1ng. That's why I'm building that system, because you're gonna see in a few seconds when we're gonna create this scene more complex, when we're gonna bring the retraced materials such as the gold, silver, glass, the glass going to generate the caustics. You're gonna see that CPU utilization will go like so crazy. So it's nice to keep it standard. So that's why it doesn't show it, even if it's selected here under the show in the viewport. It's supposed to show, but when the texture getting so complex, made up out of the 2 or more maps together, called shader. Okay, the texture called shader. When it's multiple maps mixed together and generating the texture, it's called shader. Then it's not going to show under the standard, under the default 3ds Max parameters, but you can adjust them under the options. But as again, it's going to consume a lot of memory, a lot of CPU, and it's going to slow down if you're running on much slower computer. Okay, this was top of the end computer in 2018, guys, and still in the middle range in 2024. Keep that in mind, with the 16 logical cores, as you saw. Anyways, so we got it modified. So let me show you again. Render, how it's looking. It's looking beautiful. Imagine now, this could be a wood, or this could be let's say a metal. So it's looking great. Let's go ahead and put let's go ahead and go to this checker right here under the bump, and make sure it's showing in viewport just this map. I'm gonna place the objects already in the scene. Let me zoom in. I select the rook. Let me put rook right here. Oops, I selected the board. Let me select back the rook. Sometimes it happens. That's why you want to zoom in, zoom out, and using those tools right here, guys. The tools are right here at the bottom right corner right here. And if you're gonna right here, if you're gonna click zoom extend all, zoom extend, and pan. If you're gonna go pan view, let me zoom out. You can move it like that. It's easy. And then zoom in with your mouse. You're gonna get used to it, guys. Let me go ahead and put the models here already on our board. Okay, now let me show you how to create a copy of this, because it should be 2 on each side, right? So easy. Make sure you're under the select and move right here. This is part of the modeling, but just because this is the texturing while we're creating the final scene, so we're gonna set the light, set the textures. You know, I just want to show you how to create it as additional information, as additional bonus. So make sure it's selected, the 3D model selected with the select as again and move tool, and bring your mouse cursor here by the X arrow. Okay, hold it, left mouse button, and then press shift button, left shift button on your keyboard. Hold together left shift button and mouse cursor, mouse left button, and move your mouse. Let's do it again. First you gotta hold the shift button, hold it, then bring to the X, just hold it on your keyboard without the left mouse button yet. Do not do anything on the left mouse button. Bring to the X and hold right now the shift button and left mouse button, and then move the mouse. We created a copy, and now place it there. Release both left shift button and mouse button, and it's going to bring your clone option menu. You can copy it, you can instance or reference depends exactly what you want, which is nice. They created an additional abilities for you, and it's very useful. Let's say you want them to look the same, you want them to look unique, then maybe you don't want a copy, because copy going to copy, and when you're going to create modification to a texture, both of those will change. But if you're going to copy it, it's going to use just that material abilities during that time. If you're going to select anything besides copy, just at that time. So the instance or reference, go ahead and Google it and find out about it. I'm just gonna copy it. I don't care. I want them just to look the same. But if you want, when you're creating 3D scene, and if you want to make sure that in your 3D scene the object doesn't look just the same, do not copy the objects. Do the different options, instance or reference. But go ahead and read, just Google it. Copy 3D model and 3ds Max, copy, instance, and reference. What's the difference? And it's going to tell you the difference. If Google not going to tell you the difference, go ahead and ask ChatGPT. It's going to tell you the difference. It's so easy. By the way, guys, I'm going to have a great tutorials how to use ChatGPT while doing the web development, software development, game development. So also, that's another reason for you why you want to subscribe and smash that like button and share it with your friends. If your friends into the IT, if they want to be a graphics designer, 3D artist, architect, or if they want to open their business while using the 3D printer or something like that, YouTube channel UHDk1ng will show you a lot of great stuff for 3D artists for sure. Okay. All right, click OK. So I just copied that. So whatever I'm going to, this is going to be just a copy, okay? But let me show it to you. If I'm going to change the color, let me close the maps. Click on that maps when it's saying map tab and let's close it. If I'm going to change to let's say a blue color, just a blue color, check it out what's going to happen, guys. Rendering. Because now I gotta assign. First I gotta assign. So I can keep that at that color, but over here I can assign. So this is just a copy, but I want to keep it as reference. So reference will be just the same as this one. So instead of copy, I want to just say reference. So they're going to be identical. And let me go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and do it again. Shift, hold it. Then put your mouse cursor here. Let me show it to you by this X. Hold the left mouse cursor, left mouse button, sorry, and move your mouse. Check it out. Release it and reference. Reference, so it's going to be exactly as this one. If you're gonna do modification to this one will be modified. Okay. Rock 1. I'm gonna say Rock 2. Not rock 1. So this is rock 2. Okay, so check it out, guys. Okay, so let me put this rock now. Let me click somewhere on a scene and put it there. Zoom out. If I'm going to do the modification to this guy, this one will be automatically modified on the fly. So this is an option. So they're gonna give you all kind of different features, and you gotta be creative and strategic exactly what you're doing, and it's going to save a lot of time, guys. Check it out if you're gonna be strategic. Let me adjust the color here. Let's say we wanna do dark green, okay, and I'm gonna apply new color to this. You're gonna, every time you changing here something, you want to click that apply, assign material to selection, okay, which is this button right here. Let me save it. I just click save. Just click on it, and this guy is supposed to change under the reference, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, the color is not changing under the reference. Okay, so under the instance the color will change under the instance, so it's exactly instance copy. Let me show it to you. Let's go back. Just an additional bonus for those beginners, so you're gonna understand, because when you're creating the final scene, if you would like to copy your object, you just want to make sure that you will have ability to copy it. So rock2, and not the reference, not the copy, but instance. Instance supposed to take. Too bad that if I would be a developer of 3ds Max application, after you putting your mouse cursor here to find out there is a help balloon here coming out and tells you, look, instance is this, 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 reference is this, 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 copy is this, 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 but it doesn't do that. But it's easy, you will get used to it. So we created that. Now check it out. If I'm going to change this, this is the instance. If I'm going to change it, let's say to the dark green, this one's supposed to be changing as well. No, the color is not changing. I think the color is not changing. But anyways, you got an idea. Go ahead and read about it. The color, actually, the color is not changing. The color you gotta apply. So the copy and look like the color you gotta apply to each stuff, because you can animate those every single. The reason why it is, you can animate, and if you're gonna animate a different type of the 3D scene, the color can be different, and you can apply it through the animation. Let's say at 50 seconds, change the color by itself, or flash the color, or do something like that. That's why it is. So it doesn't apply to the color if you're gonna copy it. But anyways, you got an idea. All right, guys, this is how to copy. At least I showed you how to copy. Yeah, the color, it doesn't apply. I thought it's applying to the color, but it's only applying to the geometry, but not applying to the color. But to the geometry, copy, instance, and reference will apply to the geometry. And to the geometry, an additional modifier list. There is a modifier list that you can apply to those 3D objects. Let's say you want to tessellate it. You want to create 2 times more polygons to it. Automatically, through the artificial intelligence, you want to increase the details. And if you're going to select the tessellation here, there is a modifier here on the modifier stack, tessellate. That one will be changing if it's instance. If it's not instant, if it's just a copy, it's not going to change. But if you're going to change this, that one will change it automatically. It's going to tessellate. This modifier will bring to that one as well. But it doesn't apply to a color. Okay, but I gave you some ideas, some thoughts. Okay, go ahead and read more about it. ChatGPT will be the best option for you. Go ahead and do that. Anyways, so we got this part. Okay, so we got this part. Next one will be let's go ahead and create those guys. Let's copy those guys. Let's go ahead and put those guys. The pawns. Let's go ahead and make sure all of them are here. So I'm just gonna copy the pawns real quick. Then I'm gonna let me see. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm trying to copy it. As I already told you how I'm copying it, I'm holding shift button, coming to this thing right here, to the X arrow, but holding shift button, left shift button on my keyboard, coming to the X and clicking on that X, left mouse button and holding it, and then moving my mouse. It's gonna copy it. You're gonna see it. Just go ahead and practice this. It's not a rocket science. You're gonna get to it. After you will try a couple times successfully, you're gonna learn. It's not that. So I'm gonna create those pumps. It's nice when creating 0. Let's 0, 1, 0, 2. All right, let's go ahead and do it like that. So this one will be 0, 0 then. 0, 0. Okay, so we're gonna know exactly. It's nice to do something like that, to name something like that, as again, if you're gonna run any script, because you can run this animation script written by someone without you actually do that animation. And if you're gonna do something like that, if you're gonna run the animation script, it's nice to know exactly how every single object is named. All right, hopefully guys this makes sense. Okay, so we got this part, right? We got this part. Now Now let me go ahead and put the night, the horsey. I'm just gonna copy it like that. Night 1. Alright, let's keep it night 1. So night 1 is there. And night, just a night here, but as again, I'm gonna call it night 00, so I'm gonna know exactly what it is. Let's say if I want to animate with a script, and then I don't have to animate every single object. There is a script for a chest out there for 3ds Max. You can find it on Google or ask ChatGPT. It's gonna write you the script. You can apply the script and it's gonna animate it, and then you can create a video and copy paste that script and then create a video in 3ds Max. I'm going to show you how to do it by the end of this video. I'm not going to do it for you. It's going to save you a lot of time, but you got to know exactly as every single 3D object called Rook 00. So that's why it's a nice habit to name your objects 3D models, which is 3D models, and you gotta keep tracking them, exactly know what they are. Okay, so this one is 00. Let's call it for now bishop, but it's going to add additional 01, 02. So this is 01, bishop 01, and this one just a bishop, but I'm going to call it 00. Okay, we got this one. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, and let's go ahead and now, guys, we're gonna go ahead and put the king and the queen, right? This is the king. They need to on this side like that, and the queen. Right, like that. Let's go ahead and save that. Guys, I probably should do my chess game for the iPhone and Android. What do you think? Maybe this tutorial will actually get me to create the chess game. Well, maybe even we're gonna create it together, and I'm gonna create a tutorials how to do it using the Unity 3D game engine. What do you think? It's going to be a nice learning curve from a 3ds Max all the way from the modeling, texturing, and creating the scenes as ads, let's say, of that game in 3ds Max, and then import it in a Unity game engine. And I think it's a great idea, actually. What do you think, guys? Anyways, let's go ahead and save that. So this is our chess. This is how it's lookish right now. Okay, let me go ahead and render it. Render. Okay, nice. That's very nice. I really like that. So okay, so what we can do now, so this part is ready. Let me go ahead and create the chessboard as wood, and instead of just like that. So how to do that? I'm gonna get back to my chessboard. Okay, so we're gonna create it as maps. Okay, so on the maps, I'm gonna click on this none, this square right here. Click on it, left mouse button, and I'm going to go ahead and already select the wood texture here, this wood texture right here. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to bring us inside of that map, inside of another map, because if I'm going to go back, it's going to be under the checker, and I just went there, as you can see. And let's go ahead and have a look how it's going to look like. 1 second. Let me go ahead and render it. Let's go ahead and have a look. Let me go ahead and click rendering. Render it. See, like it's bringing that wood, but this is guys, this is actually not the color, this is the bump. Remember, we created the bump because we have the color as gray. This is the bumpy. So first of all, I'm creating the bump. See, like it's close to the realistic thing to it. It's kind of wood, like with that bumpy stuff. See, like that bump, and it's created by artificial intelligence. This is so nice. Check it out, and it's already like a bumpy, like a wood. But we have the gray background. We decided to go ahead and create for now just a gray background. We're about to. This is we're working right now with the bumps. Okay. Because if I'm gonna go, let me save it. I click save button, take a couple seconds. Let me go to parent, and see, like this is the bump, and we were working on the bump map. Okay, this is the bump map right here, but color is the diffuse color. Remember that, guys, right? So if I'm gonna go ahead and click diffuse color right here, and now if I'm gonna render it, instead of just a gray, it's gonna be white and black, but with the bumpy now. Check it out. See, but we have that beautiful bumps to it. Already those bumps, and this is without the light. If I'm going to add the light to it, it's going to define those bumps to another level. So it's going to be like it was a not a texture, but it was like in a geometry kind of thing. It was like a bump in the wood of that 3D mesh, 3D primitive, 3D object, 3D model of our board, but it's not. This is, I just showed you guys how to create additional details just through the textures. Okay, this is additional information in this 101 as advanced, but go ahead and rewatch it a couple times. So this is above 101. But already we went through 101 to a little bit of advanced, and I'm giving you some abilities, and you can use those modifiers under the textures, those pre-built plugins, and you can also build your own plugins by modifying those pre-built plugins. Create exactly what your mind and your creativity wants to create. Okay? Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. So, but just because we're using black and white as a checker, let me go ahead and make it as wood now. Let me go ahead and show you how it's going to go as a wood. And we're going to apply the dark wood and light wood, okay, instead of black and white. So I'm going to click on that maps none. I'm going to click on it, on that square, and you can apply bitmap as, again, the image, but we don't want to apply the image. But you can go ahead and find yourself a texture, take a nice image, take a nice photo of the wood exactly as you want it, or paint it in Photoshop as you're a good graphics designer. And if you're not, go ahead and watch over UHDk1ng Photoshop tutorials. I'm gonna make you as a good professional graphics designer. So that's another reason why you want to thumbs up, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and support this YouTube channel. So it's not only the games. This is about the graphics design tutorials, 3D animation tutorials, game development, software development, web development. I'm going to go throughout all the aspects of the IT, guys, besides the games. So this is one of the valuable and one of the best YouTube channels out there that you don't want to miss. Make sure that your friends are not going to miss it as well, but you want to behave over this YouTube channel. You know, I don't like those walkie-talkie stuff, okay? You want to be nice, always think 100 times, and the best of your abilities of thinking when you're writing messages to me, okay? So and you will be just fine, guys. You will be respected, and you're gonna learn a lot if you're just going to subscribe and follow UHDk1ng or me as graphics designer, 3D artist, software developer, game developer, system engineer. You're gonna learn a lot of stuff. So I'm just showing you how to use your computer after you're gonna build it, because otherwise you're gonna waste your computer abilities. You wanna build yourself a nice computer, and then you want to make money with that computer, and you can create just image stocks, 3D rendering just for the regular images, sell it. You can create the videos, sell it, or you can bring it to another level within combination, just like we're building the texture right now with the combination to build the games while going through the as a graphics designer, as 3D animator. Then you're gonna learn how to code. I'm gonna teach you how to code over UHDk1ng, and you're gonna combine it just like we combine those textures, those multiple maps into one texture, which is the shader, and you can do it the same thing. And yeah, this is how you guys are going to benefit. This is how you're going to utilize your skills, knowledge, and convert it into the cash. At least this is how I'm doing it, and hopefully I'm going to teach you a few things over the UHDk1ng.com. So don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. So let's go ahead and keep moving, guys. This is a little bit of a description and explanation. So we're trying to create now, instead of black and white, a woody kind of look to it, dark wood and light wood. So I'm going to select the wood already pre-built plugin, and we're going to modify this pre-built plugin. So I selected that woody one. Let's go ahead and have a look how it's going to look like this. I gotta render it, remember, because this is complex texture already, texture into the texture into the texture. It's not showing, but let's go ahead and render it. It's beautiful, guys. We can keep it like this right now. It's a white wood and wood like that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Let me go ahead and save that. Let's keep it like something like that. And yeah, I think, or you can bring the light wood and dark wood to make it interesting, because white wood kind of doesn't look that interesting. So how to do it? Let's go ahead and make it darker. The wood kind of darker. This is going to be the dark wood, and a little bit like darker or kind of different wood. Apply a little bit darker maybe. Those two colors, as you can see, can manipulate colors, or you can bring in textures, two different images, additional textures inside of the textures so you can create all kind of multiple textures into the final textures through the multiple maps. As again, those multiple maps. So this is the wood map inside of another wood map, as we already created, as you saw, and into final texture, or into the final, here we go, darker is nice, into the final shader, which is the texture, final texture. And shader is again is complications and additions of the many maps into final texture, which is the shader. Alright, so this color is not bad. I really like this color. Let me make it a little bit more darker, I think, and reddish maybe a little bit more. It's too much. Kinda like that. Let's go now look. Like that. It's going to be kind of brownish wood and lighter wood. Yeah, nice. Maybe a little bit lighter, maybe just a hair. Like that. Let's go ahead and look. Beautiful. That's beautiful, guys. Coco no 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 coco. Coco no 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 coco. Coco no 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 coco. I'm just singing that song. Anyways, yeah, the weak point that UHDk1ng has, it's a music, guys. That's why I'm purchasing my audio tracks, my music, and every single audio track throughout this video is all rights reserved. There is no copyright, royalties can be claimed. Keep that in mind. Alright, so let's go ahead and white. Let's go ahead, this is inside. To get out of this map, we're gonna go to parent. Okay, and now we're gonna click on this white. There is a none by the white, as you can see. We're gonna click on this square button, and we're gonna create another wood texture pre-built already. And yeah, this type of light would be fine. Let's go ahead and render it. As you can go click somewhere in this scene, but make sure with the right button, not the left button, but right button on your mouse, and click render or F9. If it doesn't work, like that. Yeah. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna click F9 now on my keyboard, short key button. Beautiful, guys. This is just beautiful. This is without the beautiful final textures on the chess figures. I think it's ready. It's just fantastic. And I'm going to apply, check it out, I'm going to apply to the whole board the same texture. So you saw it was a different, so select the whole object without selecting the polygon, not the polygon. You can apply to the sides by selecting every single polygon as the side. This is only one, this side is only one polygon, but I'm gonna deselect the polygon tool and I'm gonna select the whole model while the polygon tool is deselected, and make sure that this top chessboard texture is on, and I'm gonna apply that to everything. Let's go ahead and have a look how it's going to look-ish. Let's go ahead and have a look, guys. Check it out. Rendering, render. I think it's going to scratch it. Yeah, it's kind of scratched that. But it's also not bad. It's looking kind of nice. It's some like multi-layer to it. It's nice. Let's keep it like that. But you can adjust that. You just gotta copy it. Check it out. Let me show you how to do it. Let's go ahead and undo that. We just undo that. So we are using that green texture, right? And all what you gotta do, you just top chess board texture, you gotta copy here instead of the green one. Left mouse button, hold it and drop it here. You copy that, but make sure it's not named, it's named differently. Top chess board texture here. And here, just the entire chessboard texture right here. Check it out. Let me copy that. Instead of top, entire chessboard texture. Okay, and now while the editable poly, see that under the editable poly we don't have the polygon mode selected, it's deselected. This is selected, this is deselected. So we're going to apply the texture to a whole model, 3D model, 3D object, which is the board, chessboard. I'm going to go ahead on this entire, I'm going to apply that, but as again, combination of two different materials here, or two different shaders, but it's going to look ugly, but let me show you how we're going to fix it. It's going to be like that view to it, like multi-layer, and it just stretch that. But let's say we don't want to have that stretch kind of thing here. So how to fix that? Pretty simple. You just gotta go to parent under this entire, not the top one, but hold on. Under this entire, this is entire chessboard, this is not the top. Make sure, guys, make sure you name your thing. You want to just fix it pretty simple. You're gonna go to checker here, and tiling, just do 1 instead of 4. Check it out like that. Okay, and over here, and copy it over there like that. It's gonna say instant copy swap. So here you can do the instance, whatever you're gonna modify that, that one will be modified as well. But you cannot do it while you are copying the objects that I show you, 3D objects. You cannot do the instance or reference to the textures. You can only do it to the object itself, but not to the textures. If you want to do to the textures, you got to do it through the material editor only. As again, this is called basic material editor, standard material editor, or legacy material editor, or classic material editor under the new 3ds Max application, because the new 3ds Max application is going to look like a Unity 3D game engine material editor. It's so complicated for the newcomers. So just go ahead and check under the material options. It's gonna give you that option. It's going to be right here. Select just a legacy, classic, or basic, and it's gonna bring you just like this material editor. If let's say you're running the 3ds Max 2020, 2021, 2022, 2024, this is going to be your option. So check it out, guys. Now everything is fixed. I didn't assign that, but it's fixed to the whole board. okay? But it's not fixed to the top. To the top, I gotta go now, editable poly, select the polygon, select the top polygon like that. So the polygon enabled, as you can see, and select this texture, which is the top chessboard texture material, which is the shader, and I'm going to go ahead and click this assign button. Now everything is going to look cheeky breaky. Check it out. F9 or render. I showed you how to do it without F9 just in case. See, like it has kind of this type of thing, dual kind of on the side. You can fix that. You can make completely brown if you want. All what you gotta do, just go to right here and just copy. It's splitting, as you can see. Make sure this one is copied here. 11 is 11. Copy, copy. And it's going to be, oops, not that. It's going to be just brown, not the, make sure it's not the top. Make sure it's this one, the entire. Go to diffuse and map wood. Let's go ahead and copy that, like that. So it's going to be just the same texture and it's going to be brownish one. Check it out. See that? Like that. So it's kind of woodish. Okay? It's beautiful. So the board is ready. It's kind of chocolate woodish. And now you can apply a different bump maps to it on the side. Make sure top is like that, but on the side it's kind of worn down. Let me show you how to do that. Go to parent. This is again, this is an entire board, which is everything besides the top, which is this material right here. Let me go ahead and save it just in case, guys, because sometimes it's crashing. Not right now, but when it's gonna go so complex geometry, and when you're gonna right now have the polygons, as you can see on the screen, almost 4 million polygons and almost 2 million vertices. So those vertices connected with the splines, creating 4 million polygons. It's already complicated. 3ds Max getting so slow after 10 million polygons. Keep that in mind, because it's not designed to work above 10 million polygons without the complications and without the application crashing, because they in 2024 they cannot even create the proper setup file for 3ds Max, that Indian team. Okay, so in Autodesk. So my advice to you, always save. If you don't want to be sorry after a couple hours wasted because the application is crashed. Okay, but newer 3ds Max will create an instance file, a save file for you automatically, and if the application will crash, after you're going to reopen the application, is going to say, look, the application crashed, do you want to reopen the last save state? But whatever it's saving by itself, by its artificial intelligence, but which is static primitive artificial intelligence, it's not like ChatGPT or something like that. It's just scripted static artificial intelligence. So you want to save it yourself. This is what I'm advising you to do. Okay, so we're gonna click on it. Okay, wow. And guys, I'm running out of coffee. Click on it. I got 5 kilos of those, 4 cans for 29 bucks. Supposed to be like $62. So I saved like over 60%. So happy. It's gonna last me that Colombian Supreme coffee, premium coffee, all the way for entire year. 29 bucks. Okay, like 4 or 5 cups a day without an issue. Alright guys, so this is what's up. Okay, so this is the last image. Let me go ahead and remind you how the last image looked like. Beautiful. Now we want to add on the side, lookish like it's a nice wood, but it's kind of lookish like a wood, not like wood. Let's go ahead and create those scratches there on the side. And to achieve that, we can achieve it through the bumps. Okay, you already know that. This is how we achieve that black getting out and light color getting down. And so let's go ahead and do that. So we want to go to right here to bumps, and instead of the checker, We don't need that checker on that side. We're gonna create some noise or dent like that. It's already pre-built plugin, see, like that, and we can modify that dent. Discard all map, always want to select that, and you're gonna start from scratch. Let's go ahead and have a look, guys. This is how it's going to look like. Let me show it to you, like that, with the dust there, not like a dust, like a little holes in that wood. This is, let me zoom in to show you if you're watching on a small thing, but it's supposed to be nice. Let's go ahead and have a look. I'm gonna press F9, or you can press rendering. See, like that. So this is the wood now. This is beauty. So it's kind of smooth on top and kind of woody on the side. Exactly how we want it. So you just learned a lot already from this video, how to create a multi-layer textures into the, which is multi-layer maps into the final texture or final shader. This is unbelievable. Or final material, that's how it's called, material, not the shader or texture, but called material under the 3ds Max application by Autodesk. But all kind of different 3D applications using its own, it's unique kind of naming, but the idea is the same. It's all shared as the final textures. Okay, let me zoom in to show you the level of details. Beautiful. And it's created automatically without the image. You can take an image, create it like, or you can adjust it, randomize it, and create it additional. I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to be here for one day to create it all unique and all beautiful. But it's already makes sense. It's beautiful. I mean, you can already understand this is the wood right here. All right. So let's go ahead and keep bringing the gold material now to our chess pieces, figures. I'm gonna save that, and I'm gonna create a new map. I mean the new material, which is under 3ds Max, but it's a new texture or new shader, and we're gonna include all kind of different multi-layer maps, just like we did with the wood chess board. So I click on that, a new material here, and I'm gonna call it gold texture. Okay, gold metal. So I'm gonna know exactly what it is. Gold metal. Okay, now under the standard right here by the naming, the same UI will be, guys, in 3ds Max 2024 under the classic material editor or legacy material editor. I want to click on the standard, and under the standard, this is since 3ds Max 5.5. Before 3ds Max 5th version in 2005 or 3ds Max 4 version, I started with 3ds Max 4 version. This was the first version that I purchased for my company that I established back in 2004. I purchased the license. 3ds Max 4 or 3ds Max 5 didn't have that architecture ability. Okay, it didn't have it had the retracing capabilities, but not architecture capabilities. Where's our music, guys? Let's go ahead and put the music back. And so 3ds Max 5.5, just like Photoshop version 5.5, was the evolutional versions of the 3ds Max or in Photoshop. And after that, almost everything the same. So architecture, under the architecture, you want to click on it. It's going to give you the presets already, the plugins for exactly what you're looking for. And you want to look for the metal brushed. Let's go ahead and select the brush metal first. Okay, and what I'm polished, brushed. Let's do the brushed, and over here, but there is no gold, as you can see. So we're gonna go ahead and create gold by ourselves. So let's go ahead and create something like the yellowish, like this color. Let's go ahead and apply that to night. Night is a complex 3D object. 3D model with a complex geometry. Let me rotate using the orbit tool right here. Let me zoom in to show you. The orbit tool right here. There's an orbit tool. Yeah, that's 2560 by 1440 pixels, kind of lookish ugly, and people cannot see the difference when I'm showing them 8K video resolution or 16K video resolution. I cannot believe that. I mean, yeah, those type of people, I think they will be the first pioneers that are gonna fly to Mars. So first you want to select the object, the night. So first you want to deselect the polygon, because otherwise you can select that 3D object, 3D model, which is the chessboard. You want to deselect the polygon. Now you can work with the 3D objects, 3D models in your scene, in the perspective view. Select that, and now using that orbit tool that I show you at the right bottom corner, and you want to go around it so it doesn't do it around it. So how to fix that? You click left mouse button on that orbit tool, and there is 3 different options. Select the middle one. Just read about those options, put your mouse over it. It's just gonna go and hold exactly, do the circle 360 around the 3D model. Select it. Let's go ahead and save it, by the way. So I'm going to apply that gold texture to this knight, to this horsey, because I really like the 3D primitive, the 3D model. The level of polygons, the level of details is going to look great, and it's going to show us if the gold is proper or not. So select that gold metal texture, and I'm going to click this button, align material to selection. Boom. It doesn't show us in perspective because it's only showing smooth and highlights here. You can, as again, you can modify it under the option. The way you can do only the wireframe, so without the colors, it's just going to be only the wireframes, which is the lines. You can do the flat, just a basic colors. You can do the edges. You can do all kind of different things, but smooth and highlights without the edges is the best, like that. Just smooth and highlights under your perspective. This is how you can customize it. Additional option, if you skipped on the basic of the user interface in 3ds Max. By the way, guys, in the future I will be available on UHDk1ng that you don't want to miss my tutorials, and it's going to be beautiful. So let's go ahead and render it. I'm gonna go render or F9. Make sure, as again, that your perspective view is selected. See how long it takes? It takes already some time. It's not doing it fast because it's ray tracing applied. Check it out. The CPU utilization went like south. Oh my god, it's beautiful. This is without the light yet. It's beautiful, guys. It's just beautiful. Check it out. Just because the background is black, it's picking up the reflection of the background. It's reflecting the black. And we don't have any additional light. Let's go ahead and fix the background. Let's, instead of black background, let's go ahead and put some bright background for now, because otherwise it's picking up, because the metal has the ability of refraction and reflection, and it's picking up the background color, which is the black. Okay, let me save that. Let's go ahead and fix that. Let's adjust the background into the lighter color. So how to do that? You wanna, it's under the rendering, and there is environment right here. Environment. Click on environment, and color, background color. If you're not going to put it in a box, if you don't have a box and inside of the box you're creating the scene, that means the background will be the color right here under those parameters. If you're gonna put your scene in the box, then it's going to be the color of the box, or the texture, the final texture of the box. But we didn't put it in, we don't have no ceiling, it's unlimited, it's void background, so it's a black color. So it's going to be under the rendering capabilities, features. Okay, we click here, and let's go ahead and make it brighter. Let's grayish color is gonna, because the black, reflecting black color is kind of hard to see because there is no other things around it. And let's go ahead and render it. Take some time, guys, just like I told you. And as you can see, every single core is utilized now, but not so hard yet. It's done. Still black, still black. because there is no light. It's we gotta bring the light, guys. We gotta bring the light to the scene. We gotta bring two-sided. We gotta bring the special effect. So guys, architecture. Here's the trick. This is since the 3ds Max 5.5, but in 3ds Max 7 they brought the new capabilities. 3ds Max 7 back in 2007, and any version after 3ds Max 7, like 3ds Max 2010, 2012, 2020, 2022, 2024, and newer 3ds Max will be using a new free plugins that comes with the 3ds Max. Thanks God, they're gonna improve on ray tracing capabilities, and you gotta use that because those type of technologies was available all the way in 2005, and they kind of updated. Kind of already outdated, not updated but outdated. So how to fix that? Pretty simple. You want to click on render setup. Let me show you real quick how to improve your rendering capabilities in 3ds Max. Okay, you click here. There is a renderer right here, button, tap. It's going to be common, render, advanced lighting, ray tracing, render elements. In the newer 3D Max, they're going to add additional boxes, okay? But those will be there. Or if it's not there, you're going to look for that, okay? And right here, you can see anti-aliasing is on. So when it's rendering, it's doing the anti-aliasing. So there is no hard edges. As you can see, the lines are straight and beautiful, which is nice. You can enable it, disable it up to your computer. Shadows, enable it, disable it. So use all those capabilities under the renderer. But the most advanced thing over here, under the comment, let's go to the comment. Under the down there under the comment, it's going to say assign renderer. Open up, click on it, open up, left mouse button. It says default skyline renderer. Skyline renderer, I believe, was in 3ds Max 4 version in 2004, or even older version. It's so old. It's very old, and it doesn't have the capabilities to utilize 256 CPU cores and above. So that's why you saw the CPU utilization wasn't that excellent. So what you want to do under the production, you wanna render it. You wanna switch it to mental ray renderer. So this is the mental ray. It used to be the Autodesk used to charge for that additional as plug-in, additional money for the license, and it was very expensive. But right now, since 3ds Max 7, it's completely free to 3ds Max 2010, 3ds Max 2020, 3ds Max 2024, 2026. In 2020, they add additional one called Corona. Okay, it's even kind of similar to Mental Ray. In some of the ways, it's even better than Mental Ray. But let's go ahead and do the Mental Ray. Okay. And you can also use some V-Ray, the paid plugins, which has cost a lot of money, over thousands of dollars, but it's going to do amazing results, guys. Rendering will be just like unbelievable, like in Hollywood completely. But Mental Ray is also good if you know how to use it. And throughout this video, I'm going to explain to you the basics, and you will have no bad results at all. You're going to have a great results, and you're going to enjoy. So let's go ahead and select that and save that. Save the file with Mental Ray. It's a great idea to create a new file. Every time you're saving the file, create a new file. So just in case if the newer version of the 3ds Max, if you want to open that scene, because the newer version can open the old version of 3ds Max, but not otherwise. Make sure if they're going to support Mental Ray built in, the newer version, maybe they're going to remove that. That's why you want to keep all kind of different files. Okay, let's go ahead and use that Mental Ray render. Check it out. I'm going to, under this render, there is a new capabilities will be available. Let me render this scene first. Let me show you the vase.